China is battling a new and rapidly spreading respiratory
Officials
virus.
in Italy now say that 5 people have died from the virus there. The number of cases in that country has risen to 219 very quickly.
I want to begin in Asia, where the coronavirus continues to spread in China, with the number of confirmed cases now in the country climbing above 75,000.
We have breaking news we are continuing to follow for you. Iran says 50 people have now died from the coronavirus as the infection spreads across the Middle East.
As the World Health Organization warns that the window for stopping the epidemic is narrowing.
Montages like that are unsettling, to say the least, and we live in a time where the global community has its eyes fixated on the news headlines as we see this disease continue to spread across the world, affecting more and more people, and understandably, people are feeling unsure, they're feeling unsteady, shaken, stirred, they're feeling troubled. Anxiety is welling up in many people as they react to this spread of this disease and just wonder what is next. And you might be wondering, Austin, what does this have to do with your channel, and what's this idea of Christians and the coronavirus? But the reason I wanted to speak about this today is not only is the entire world looking at this, and we have the world's attention fixated on this, but I want to talk about this because it's in times like these, it's in times when we feel troubled, it's in times when things seem unsure, that our true theology begins to be able to be seen in our lives. You see, it's so important that we understand that theology isn't just a mere repository of ideas or just this set of doctrinal truths that are abstract and esoteric and things that we just come up with in ivory towers and things we just navel gaze and pontificate about. No, theology, correctly understood, is a lived reality. It's something that takes place in and for the church, but has a word to say to the entire world that shapes how we live our lives, and is best done in the context of discipleship and obedience to the lordship of Jesus. And when we can truly see our theology is not when we are sitting back and just thinking and just wondering and life is good and we're preaching from a pulpit with a nice 401k and everyone claps for us. Our theology is really seen in our day-to-day lives, specifically when we're afraid. And so as Christians, how should we respond to this? Because how we respond to it will say a lot about what we truly, functionally believe. What is our functional theology, not just what we say we believe. So the first thing I want to ask you is your reaction to this panic or prayer? Is your reaction panic or prayer? And you might be saying, Austin, that's the most trite thing I've ever heard. Bear with me. I know it might seem like you want me to just pray in light of this entire global pandemic. Like, that's your answer, Austin. But my question to you is, if you are a confessing Christian, how could prayer not be your first instinct? You see, in Philippians 4, we have this audacious claim where Paul tells us, do not be anxious about anything, but in everything with prayer and supplication, make your requests known to God. And we're like, Paul, that's your answer to anxiety? Paul, you clearly didn't understand coronavirus. But the thing about prayer, the thing that really reveals itself through our approach about prayer, is whether we believe what comes right before that verse, which is verse 5, where it says that the Lord is near, the Lord is at hand. The reason we're not anxious is because God is near, and that causes us to pray. You see, we're so in danger in the modern church of becoming these deists, people who believe in a God who created the world but has been kind of detached. But as Christians, we reject that and we say, no, God is intimately involved. And while we don't understand his will, why I'm not saying that I understand why this is happening or that God caused this, like, that is not the point of this. But what I'm saying is that we believe that God hears our prayers, and we believe that God is intimately involved, and we believe that prayer actually does make a difference. So of course we get on our knees and we come before God and say, God, would you intervene? We do not panic. We are not anxious because we know the Lord is at hand. That's not to downplay what's going on, but I do want to ask you, is your reaction panic or prayer? Because I think that says a lot about what you truly believe about prayer and how much we believe that God is actually involved in our world. Secondly, we choose faith, not fear. As Christians, we have no reason to fear. We say, what can man do to me? what happens if I die? Like, is dying the worst thing for a Christian? Absolutely not. In Philippians 1, Paul talks about to live is Christ and to die is gain. In Acts 20, we have this really fascinating episode where Paul is getting ready to go to Jerusalem to what will likely be his death. And the Ephesian elders are coming around him and saying, Paul, you can't do this. This is crazy. You have to save your life. And Paul looks at them and his response is absolutely insane. In verse 24 of chapter 20, he says, "But I do not account my life of any value, nor as precious to myself, if only I may finish my course in the ministry that I received from the Lord Jesus to testify to the gospel of the grace of God." Do you see what he's saying here? He's saying that his life is not independently valuable, but for his mission that he's been given from God. And as Christians, we actually should not look at this and say, that's insane. That's like some other level of discipleship that's completely unattainable to us. But it's actually just the logical outflow of what we say we believe. If we truly believe that to be absent from the body is to be present with Christ, if we truly believe that we have eternal life ahead of us, if we truly have that eternal perspective, then of course we adopt this mindset. And I'm not saying we go run in and just try to infect ourselves with this disease like that. No, we are not masochists. We're not out to harm ourselves. We're out to do the will of God, to do the ministry that we've received from the Lord. But what I really want to point out here is that we don't panic. We don't choose fear. We choose faith. We say, my trust is in the Lord, and that, this life, I don't hold it as dear to me. This life is but a mist that is here once and gone. And we look to Psalm 23, that beautiful psalm. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for your rod and your staff, they comfort me. We see, as Christians, we don't fear. In 1 John, it talks all about that there's no fear in love, but perfect love casts out fear. We do not sit back in crippled anxiety and fear over what's happening in the world and say, what if I die? Because as Christians, we don't say that that's something that should actually terrify us. I'm not trying to downplay death, but I think we have an unhealthy relationship with it that shows us that we don't actually functionally believe what we say we believe, and that should be a heart check for us. The third thing I want to say, in addition to not panicking but choosing prayer and choosing faith over fear, is that we speak and live truth into these situations. As the people who aren't losing our minds over this, as people who are not fearful over what will happen because we trust God and we do not count our own lives as dear, as people who have chosen hope because we fix our eyes on Jesus, as Colossians 3:2 says, that we set our minds on things above where Christ is seated in the heavenly realms. As these people, we are in a position to speak truth to culture and to live out that truth, showing that we actually believe what we say we believe. And in Matthew 5, Jesus talks about living as a city on a hill, a light before others, that we should shine our light. We are not burdened down with anxiety, but we're able to look at these things and through the lens of faith say, okay, how can we deal with these? We don't stoop to racism like we've been seeing so often, of people discriminating against people out of fear, which fear will cause us to do all types of crazy things. But as people who are not gripped by fear but have been transformed by love, we in turn show that love to the world in these situations. And we say, how can we go about bringing about what needs to come next? How can we go about seeing how we can get through this as a global community? How can we speak truth into people and give them the hope of the gospel, which is good news? This channel, Gospel Simplicity, is about the beautiful simplicity and transformative power of the gospel. We recognize that the ultimate remedy for all people is the good news of Jesus Christ, who, while we were still sinners, died for us in our place that we might have life in Him. So we stand as people not shaken. We stand as people not fearful. We stand as people trusting in Jesus, trusting that this life is but a mist. We stand as people saying that our life is not valuable but to do the will of God. We stand trusting that God is in control even when we don't understand it, and we speak life, we speak truth, and we live as lights and cities set upon a hill that we might influence the world around us. That is our call as Christians, in the midst of these times that are scary for many, we stand firm. We love them with the love that we've been shown. And we speak the truth of the gospel with the goal of transforming the world and showing them that, yes, life is fragile as we're seeing, but this life is not all there is. And I'm not saying this to downplay what's going on. Please hear me. My heart breaks for those affected by this. Truly, it is terrible. But we take these moments and we don't allow them to break our faith in God, but we shine all the more brightly in these dark times. Well, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Truly, it means so much to me that you would take the time to watch it. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it encourages you to think about how we as Christians can be responding to the coronavirus, COVID-19, the technical name, whatever you want to call it. Hopefully this reshapes your thoughts on this and allows you to live not from a place of fear, but from a place of faith. I so appreciate you. If you're new to this channel and you haven't already subscribed, I really encourage you to click that button down below so that you can become a part of this community here where we are passionate about the beautiful simplicity and transformative power of the gospel. And if you enjoyed this video, click like, leave me a comment down below, watch another one, see what this channel is all about. Anyway guys, until next time, be on the lookout for more videos, and as always, most importantly, go out and love God and love others, because truly, above all else, that will change the world. Peace. Love you guys so much. See you next time.